Hello and welcome to Petrosys webinars. My name is Ewan Rule and this webinar is a short introduction to Petrosys PRO 2018.1. The webinar will be recorded and uploaded to the Petrosys website in the next few days, and it will last for around 15 to 20 minutes. If you have any questions, please enter them in the questions panel, and all questions will be answered at the end of the presentation. We've also got a short multiple choice survey at the end, so please stick around until we're finished. It's only 6 months since we released Petrosys PRO 2017, so this is our second major release in a relatively short period of time. Our plan going forward is for our major yearly release to be in the second quarter of each year. 2017 introduced map templates which many clients regarded as a major upgrade as they affected all Petrosys projects. I'm happy to say that there have been no major issues reported and most clients are now benefiting from consistent map styles. 2018 has some major new functionality, but it doesn't require any upgrades to existing projects, so we hope that it will be adopted quickly by our user community. Despite the short timescale since the last release, there is significant new functionality in PRO 2018 as we continue to develop Petrosys and provide value for maintenance and support paying customers. While the 2017 release was focused on improving mapping, this release is more weighted towards surface modelling. Several of the new features will be discussed in depth in subsequent webinars. As you can see from the surface modelling one, some of these do take a bit of explanation. So today's presentation will be a quick overview, and it'll be more PowerPoint than normal and less live demonstration. So we'll start to look at these 6 major new features. We're all used to accessing more data online, and PRO 2018 now adds support of web feature services and ArcGIS web servers to our existing WMS support. The main advantage of WFS is that it serves attribute as well as shape data online. This allows us to query, thematically map, grid and exchange data, and the option is available to users from the Display GIS menu. It also helps to keep the data current or live and prevents duplication and problems with version control. We will have a short look at this in the demo, but we'll also have a future webinar in Petrosys integration with web-based data sources. Many large companies maintain their own WFS and ArcGIS web services, and there are also public WFS available, although how well maintained they are varies. Client feedback has identified prospect generation as an important part of the exploration process. Surface modelling has a new option to automatically calculate the lowest closing contour to help identify prospects within your grid. Input parameters such as the minimum viable area and the column height can be used to define whether prospects will be economic or not. The only essential input is a grid. This can be in Petrosys grid format, or it could be a grid coming from a direct connection. Faults can also be included. They can be either sealing or leaking. And if you have well data that includes information such as whether a well is a dry hole, or if you've got known lowest hydrocarbon contacts, you can also include that to give you more confidence about the interpretation. The results are written into shapefiles for easy mapping, and we also produce an HTML report that can be viewed in a web browser, similar to the output from our Volumetrics. This is quite a major improvement in the software, and we're going to cover this in a subsequent webinar. We've also added in an option in Volumetrics to output the results to shapefiles. Spatially mapping reserves distribution is increasingly important, and this new feature will be particularly useful to clients planning horizontal development of unconventional plays. All Petrosys PRO users now have access to our Volumetrics options. The new options produces centroid and polygon shapefiles with attributes which include the fluid type, the area and the volume, And of course, as we're outputting these as shapefiles, you can also use them in GIS applications. Should you need to make a mesh of input polygons of a specific size, as shown in the screenshot here, remember that it's easy to do this using the Petrosys Spatial Editor. Petrosys PRO can now be launched from a toolbar icon or a menu item within Decision Space. So for new users, it's immediately obvious that Petrosys is available to them and they don't have to launch the application from outside their core interpretation system. In combination with a new project startup and dragging and dropping data introduced in Pro 2017, this now makes it very quick and easy for all Decision Space users to benefit from Petrosys core strengths. A minor enhancement worth mentioning in Pro 2018 is support for OpenWorks seismic lists to help filter data in mapping and modelling workflows. We're also going to have a subsequent webinar specifically recapping the recent improvements to our Decision Space integration. Most modern computers have multiple central processing units capable of running multiple processes at the same time. Many software applications run processes sequentially and miss out on hardware power. Petrosys now utilises HyperThreading to utilise all CPUs concurrently during gridding workflows. So we've attempted to show this with a little animation. If you've got a gridding workflow with a range of different tasks and you've got a quad-core computer, previously we would just use one CPU and it would take a long time to complete all these processes sequentially. And now with the parallel processing, all 4 CPUs will get used and consequently the time taken to complete the job will be much shorter. Not all tasks in the workflow will be suitable for parallel processing. For example, where one task is dependent on the output from the previous step, or when appending data to the same output file. However, many workflows will benefit, including gridding families of data, testing different gridding algorithms, importing and exchanging data, and creating velocity slices from SegY files during depth conversion. And I'm sure you'll find many other workflows where the parallel processing will greatly speed things up. We've just got one example here to demonstrate the sort of speed improvement you can expect. And in this example, we're looping over 44 large ASCII grid files and importing them into Petrosys grid files. And you can see in the screenshot here, there's now a progress bar, so you can see how the job is progressing and how quickly it's likely to be finished. So what we've done here is to show you what the comparative speeds would be between Petrosys Pro 2017 and earlier versions and in Petrosys Pro 2018. So first of all, we ran this task with a dual-core PC and it took just over 12 minutes in Petrosys Pro 2017. In 2018, it took under 3 minutes, so it was 4.5 times faster. If you've got a quad-core processor, then we're looking at 2 minutes to start off with, and that falls down to 44 seconds in Petrosys Pro 2018. So really the numbers speak for themselves. If you're lucky enough to be upgrading your hardware at the same time as you upgrade Pro from 2017 to 2018, you might see some very dramatic time savings. And this should mean finishing your workflow a lot faster. We can now automatically create Petrosys projects when starting the Petrosys plugin from either Petrel or from Decision Space. We'll do this in the live demo, but just to reiterate, in 2017 it took 11 mouse clicks in total. You had to do some typing, and you had to use a couple of pull-down lists to get the coordinate reference system information. So as I said, 11 clicks in total to start up your new Petrosys project. In Petrosys Pro 2018, this can be configured so that it just takes one mouse button click to get started. So we'll now move into a demo of the software. And I'm going to start this today from within Petrel. The functionality I'm going to show you here also applies if you're running Petrosys from within Decision Space now. You'll also find there's a Petrosys PRO option in Decision Space. In Petrel, we go to the ribbon and click in the Petrosys PRO icon. Now, just before I do this, existing users will realise if you did this before, you then went to the Petrosys project menu and you had to create a new project if you wanted to. For new users, though, this is now a really easy option. You just click one button and immediately we've got a Petrosys project silently created in the background. So what actually happened there, we've got a Petrosys project that's taken the name of a Petrel Decision Space project and we've used that as the name of a Petrosys project. The other thing we want to check is what coordinate reference system has been assigned to the Petrosys project. So in Petrel we do this by going to the project setup and reviewing the project CRS. And you can see here this is the Gullfax field in Norway. The coordinate system is ED50 UTM31. And in our Petrosys project, this has been populated automatically, so that's also going to be suitable for further work. One other thing to mention is that there's a configuration option for this. So for administrators, if you go to the advanced option, there's a new little tab here called Automatic Project Creation, where you can set up directories you want new Decision Space or Petrel projects to be created in. So if you already have an area in your file system for an asset team, you can ensure that all new projects will be created there. There are also some options for how the new automatic project creation works. In my case, it just is the one click to create the project. You can have it so that it never does this and you have to go through the old system. You can have it so you just get the option to edit things like the project name. Or you can have it prompt once and then not again, so there's full control over how this works. If you've already got Petrosys projects associated with your Petrel project, we'll also remember those and not bother users by asking them to create new projects. So I'm going to start up mapping in my new project and we'll continue to look at how easy it is to get going with Petrosys from Petrel Decision Space. So to start off, I'll just drag and drop a grid onto our area of interest. This Petrel project is a depth grid we've taken over, so we're going to change the colour gradient. We'll use an inverted colour bar. And in future releases in the Petrosys PRO 2018 stream, we'll automatically copy Petrel colour gradients into Petrosys. So if you want to have it looking exactly the same as in Petrel, it will do without having to manually import them. Another small enhancement that I didn't mention in the PowerPoint is that we now automatically pick up the units for the depth domain when working with third-party grids and surfaces. So if we go over to the contours and switch on the contouring option, you can see we've now picked up the label, the meters label automatically as this is a depth grid. Obviously if it was time it would be something like milliseconds, or if you're working with Kingdom it would be seconds. So this option to pick up the depth units automatically doesn't just apply to Petrel and Decision Space. It applies to all third-party data sources, Kingdom, Paradigm, Dug Insight, anything that Petrosys supports. And it doesn't just apply to the contours. If you add on a colour bar, you'll also find that the axis label is populated with the depth units. So it's one less thing for the user to think about adding as we're starting to produce our final map. And also, it's always good to put the units onto your map to make it unequivocal for future use. So just as a reminder of some of the benefits of Petrosys PRO 2017, this is just our standard default map style. If you've set up some site map templates for things like PowerPoint display, or if you want to do poster presentations, all the user has to do is pick something that's already been set up. You can see this particular one has XY coordinates on the inside of the map sheet, so it really maximizes the screen real estate. And in the same way, we're using a dynamic extent just now. We can control that with a saved extent. So if you're always working over one particular field, you can just choose that, and then your area of interest doesn't move around the place as you pan around the screen. Now, the last thing I'm going to do in the demonstration is just have a quick look at working with the WFS data. So this is available from the display menu. We go to the display GIS as you would expect. And you'll find in the GIS data sources we now have Web Feature Service, but for this example I'm going to use an ArcGIS web service. If this is a new service you're working with, just copy and paste the URL and then connect. Once you've done that, you can choose if you want to save it. And you can see there's also authentication here, so if you've got your own company web service, you can put in the username and password. Now I've already saved ArcGIS fact maps from the Norwegian Petroleum Directorate, so I'm just going to connect up to that, click and connect. As long as we've got a good web connection, it should all work nicely. And now we can see the list of feature classes that are available. So I'm just going to pick up the development well bores and put those onto the map. So you can see we've got some wells displayed down here. They're just simple circles at the moment, so not very informative. But this is where the WFS is a big improvement in things like a WMS. All the attribute information is available to us in here. So we can use this for annotation, we can use it for filtering. I'm going to use it for thematic mapping because there is a plot symbol provided by the NPD. And I'm going to import a style that I've saved previously. I've got a shortcut saved to the Petrosys shared resources directory. This is not something we ship, but there's nothing to stop you setting up a shared resources directory in your own file system and then putting in shortcuts so it's easy to get there. And in here we've got an XML file that defines these NPD well symbols. When I say OK to this, we'll be updated and we've now got the correct well symbols plotted. So it really is very quick and easy to create a new Petrosys project, to drag and drop data from the interpretation system, to add in data from GIS, be it traditional flat files or web-based GIS systems, and then to apply a good quality style and create very quickly a beautiful map that you can put into a PowerPoint or print out to a PDF. We'll just finish off by returning to our PowerPoint, and I'm just going to summarise. The 2018 release offers significant new functionality, and it should be an easy upgrade, so we do encourage clients to install it soon. It's a modelling focus including low closing contours, much faster workflows, and volumetrics output to shapefiles. Decision space sites will benefit from the integrated Petrosys plugin, and mapping is enhanced by the new web-based data sources. Through automatic project creation, assigning labels to third-party grids, etc., we continue to reduce the need for user input, and overall this should shorten the mapping process. We're always interested to hear what clients want. So please do get in touch with us, either get in touch with me directly or speak to your local Petrosys contact and let us know what features would really help you, what you can't do with your existing software, if there's any new workflows you'd like help with. I hope you've enjoyed this webinar and found it useful. Thanks again for your time today. I'm just going to have a look and see if we've got any questions.